Test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test. Huh? Test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. Too close?
No, you're good.
Test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Test, test.
The glasses. I love it. I love it. So welcome to VODPOD Media, man.
Thanks, man.
What do you think?
I love it.
Pretty
I
cool,
love
huh?
it. I would have thought otherwise. This is you. I love
Labor
it.
love, man. Chords, man. Chords used to be crazy in here and everything else. So, well, listen, we're not going to really look at the camera. We're just having a conversation.
Sounds good.
Want to get to know you, get to know me. So we talked about maybe doing a podcast together.
Yep.
I want to see what that looks like, what it feels like. What do you think?
And see where the personality goes.
Yeah, I think we can do it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like finding that happy medium. So,
Yep.
so where's your passion lie? What's up?
Passion, man. So my music defines me.
Okay,
My family defines me.
you got the Biggie, Notorious B.I.G.
I love Biggie.
Did you hear the news for Puff Daddy today?
I did.
accused
He
of
is he going the route of R. Kelly?
Ooh, it sounds that way.
Ooh.
As long as he's not peeing on anybody, you know, no, it's not a good look. And the thing is I don't believe that he probably did not do it, but I always side with women anyway.
Yeah.
Believe women first, and then let the rest shake out because they're not going to lie about it. So,
Yeah.
so music defines you.
Music defines me. I grew up in Chicago
Okay.
to house. And
House music. Okay.
Grew up inside a house. You know, you'd be 12 years old and you'd escape the house, and your parents try to lock you out. You know, come back at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Unchain that thing, get back in, sneak into bed. So
You know,
So I grew up in a
it's
house.
funny. I don't know if I've ever told my parents, but when I was 16, 17, what I do is there's an alarm on the window, right? And I take the magnet out, right, and then raise the window,
yeah.
but then the magnet would sit on there. I'd climb out the window, and then my car was a 1978 Toyota Super Celica.
yeah.
I said it was doo-doo brown, right? Because it was brown, right? And I take it, and we had a little slope, so I'd roll it back, and then I'd push start it. So
Yeah.
it just push, so because it was standard. And throw it in the gear, take off down the road. And then when I came in that night, like I'd roll in, turn off all the lights, roll in, climb back in the window.
I unfortunately can't do that 17 stories up.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, of course, Chicago, right? Chicago, New York, Philly. Yeah, no. We were here in Texas, man, so it was just crazy.
So, you know, we used to go, like, you know, the routes of, like, Fast Eddie and Rob Bass. And,
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
that was back in the day for
Yeah.
an old house.
Yeah.
Used to go to a place called Medusa's,
Okay.
and it was close to Wrigleyville. So it's close
Okay.
to Wrigleyville.
Baseball
And
park, right?
Baseball park.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Cubs.
Gotcha. My buddy Maximo is from Chicago also.
Okay.
Chi-town. Yeah, matter of fact, where is he now? He's in Detroit for a funeral, but he has a show here as well, and his show is called the Maximo Show.
I think that's what you showed me last time.
Yeah, I showed you his show
Yeah.
last time. But it's funny because I have an intern, Jaden.
Mm-hmm.
He's 19 years old, and I'm like, yo, dog, have you ever heard this before? So you bring it up Rob Bass,
Yeah.
and I put on Heavy D and the Boys. And he was like, wow, this is kind of cool, you know. So it's very interesting to see these, to be not an elder statement by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, in the mid of my life and talking to younger kids and having interns and showing them different type of music. So
And they may not even know it.
and they don't know it. They
It's
don't.
like when
There's
we were
certain things that we say.
when it was Elvis when we were young, and they're like, Elvis.
Yeah,
who?"
Elvis who, right? And so it's really interesting as we mature and we have kids and,
Yeah.
you know, second, third parts of our life, because you have kids, right?
Yeah, 5 kids.
5 kids.
Yeah.
So 3 with
I have 3 with my current wife and
Okay.
2 with my ex. So
2 with your ex,
Yeah.
and then I have 2, 2 different mothers. So one, Maria, she is 25, if I'm not mistaken, and then Sarah is 24. Sarah's
Wow.
married in Germany right now. So her and her husband are living in Germany.
Okay.
And then her husband, I'm sorry, and then Maria is single, gorgeous. I'm not trying to pimp my daughter out, but my daughter, both of them are gorgeous, but only have one single one. And she's a beautiful, amazing. Both of them are just amazingly smart, talented women, and I'm really happy for them because I wasn't always there, right?
You're proud papa.
I am. And I don't think I say it enough. I don't think I celebrate them as much as I possibly could, just because of like what happened in the past.
Yeah.
But I really should celebrate them.
But that's why they call it the past.
It is.
The present. Be
all we have
for
is the present.
For the present, yeah.
Yeah, because we can't worry about the future. All we have is this moment right now.
No,
so you have three, and
I
then
have three, and then two. It's three. Sonia and Gavin.
Okay.
Sonia's 25. Gavin's 19. And then my little ones, Dylan, Aiden, and Maddie.
And those are the babies.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Maddie. That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one.
So it's like I say, music drives me. So music's in all of them, especially Maddie. Mm-hmm. So even though she has some learning disabilities, when she hears these beats, these beats just come alive in her.
Man, music is amazing.
Yeah.
Terrence Howard. Do you know Terrence Howard? Hustle and Flow. He just came out with some harmonic resonance retuning thing. It's really out there, and he's talking about mathematics.
It works.
1 + 1 doesn't really equal, or 1 × 1 actually equals 2. Some really weird stuff. So there's like this weird piece of what he's talking about, but then the music part of what he's talking about, and they're trying to build this reimagining or reconditioning machine. It sounds interesting. He was at Oxford talking. You know how the Oxford talks, and he was actually at the Oxford talk talking about it. So.
Music, and the frequency, how it resonates.
Frequencies are real. Yeah,
it can be used for good and bad.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
So you can go from all the folks from I'm just getting back in touch with my own culture.
Okay.
As a result,
okay.
So I listen to Bhangra a lot.
Oh, tell me about that.
Bhangra. So it's a mix of it's Punjabi music from Central India.
Okay.
You can see whether it's in Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, they all have kind of similar tones, similar rhythm, similar history. Before the country was divided, and they had the Ottoman Empire at that time, and so Bhangra is about it's the Sikhs sharing in whether it's wedding songs or just a lot of drums, a lot of drum beats, a lot of there's percussion, there's flutes, there's a host of different instruments that can be used.
Now you said Sikh,
right?
It's very interesting because a lot of people don't know what Sikhs are.
Yes.
In America.
Yes.
So tell me about the Sikh.
Yes,
yeah.
Sikhs. We have.
So tell me. So Sikhs is a religion.
Sikh is a religion.
Okay.
And I've also gone from religion to religion. So I've.
So you jumped around.
Yeah, I've jumped around.
Right.
You in life you find yourself.
You do.
Different experiences help you achieve your reason why.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we used to go to temple when I was young with my mom, and just on Sundays. And at that time, they didn't make an effort about what is being said. So a lot of the old sayings we were not able to understand it
because of the language barrier.
Because of the language barrier,
right.
So they're more like I wouldn't say slang, but they're more traditional old sayings.
Okay.
Old verses, and the old verses we just didn't understand that.
Okay.
And so that's not traditionally what we speak in the house. And so we go to temple as a kid. You play around, have fun, and eat the food because Sikhism is all about service.
Gotcha.
So whether you're in Ukraine or you're in
regardless where you are,
where in the ghetto, wherever you are, the Sikhs are always there to help people, feed them, clothe them,
warrior class, though.
House them. They are.
Sikhs are warrior class.
They are.
Yeah.
Don't be deceptive. Deception right there. They are a warrior class. They're a small group population wise.
Very much so.
But they are some of the smartest in the world.
Gotcha.
Some of the leading CEOs are Sikh.
Okay.
Even the head of World Bank is now Sikh.
Really?
Was the head of MasterCard.
Okay.
But it's more about achieving over the struggles that they go through. And it's I think it's built into us, deep inside.
Sikhs or just religion and their spirituality?
The whole idea of Sikhism.
Okay.
And how you battle these struggles and after time you find you find yourself, you find who you are.
I need to, I've always one of the temples I've always wanted to go to is a Sikh temple.
To go, yeah.
That is something that
right down the street.
I don't know where it is, but I know there's one here in San Antonio.
Yeah, there's two of them here in San Antonio.
Okay.
Yep.
That is something I will do within the next couple of months.
Yeah, it's amazing, and they're
very
heartwarming to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got Indian Sikhs, you got white Sikhs, you got black Sikhs, you got Hispanic Sikhs. Anybody can be a Sikh.
A lot of Indian Sikhs, though, mostly.
Sure,
Indian. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, mostly
but we'd be surprised out here in San Antonio. There's a good mix.
So it was very interesting is when I was at about 15 years old, 14, 15, I started getting, for some reason, actually it was a girl. That's for some reason it was a girl. She lived around the street from me. And I would go visit her. Well, her mother and her were fairly religious. I went to a football game, and some guy born again, right? Like, okay, say this, and you're going to be born again. And I didn't really know what that was. A few months later, I started going to church, get up on Sunday, catch the bus. At 14, get on the bus. Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church in Houston. So right across the street from University of Houston. Jack Yates was right in the area, and so was the CUNY Homes and Texas Southern University. So TSU is a HBCU, historically black college university. So, but anyway, so I got my hair cut right over there, not as much now, but got my hair cut over there. And I started going, man, the praise was amazing and amazing, amazing. And enjoyed it, but then we moved to San Antonio, and I when I got here, there was like no real church, so I did some young life stuff, but never really found religion again or
like
spirituality.
The gospel side, Like the gospel side.
Yeah, I never found that energy again until I moved until later in life, and so I say I'm spiritual, music, numbers, the universe. Like really all of what it encompasses, right? Taking a little bit from all the religions and looking at the good and what they do. That's where I am with life. And I believe my religion is literally love. End of story, period. Without love, there is nothing. Love for thyself, love for thy neighbor, and love for the planet and the universe. Without that, nothing else matters.
That's true.
And God doesn't, if you believe in a God or somebody believes in a God, there is no God without love.
Right.
And obviously there's no love without God. So that's where mine is. It's just love. So, but I would love to go to a Sikh temple. Check it out.
We'll take you sometime.
I have to do it. So, you mentioned Maddie.
Yes.
Right. I know a little bit more because we've talked about it, but tell me a little bit more about Maddie.
So Maddie is 21 months old now. She is her full name is Madeline, and she's amazing. She was born with a genetic disposition, so she has missing chromosome, fairly large, that's missing. We've been going through various genetic tests. It started off when I was working at home, working with Hitachi, and she started having seizures in front of me, and I didn't know what a seizure was. I didn't know what it looked like. At least I knew what it was, but I wasn't sure what it looked like, and so over and over she started having them in various different locations, in the airplane, at the Pearl, at home, and different things happened. We ended up in the hospital a couple times, and over time, then they said, okay, well, that's one effect, one symptom, and they said, and another doctor said, oh, we felt she has a heart murmur, so it's like an echo, and so then they found out that she has a hole in her heart.
Wow.
And so then we found out that through imaging of the heart that she has a side that was enlarged, bigger than the other.
Now, this is all caused because of the chromosome, or
because of the chromosome, yeah. So, but at that time we had no idea that it was a chromosome. So then he said, "Well, we know that she has a hole in her heart, but at the same time we should start doing more tests." So you take the first test, which is a chromosome microarray, a CMA exam, and I believe it was by blood, if I can recall. But that is a basic genetics test. It's pretty standard, and approved quite easily with insurance. But then comes, that's with the asterisks.
Yeah.
And then it takes 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever it took to get the results, and the results are quite cryptic. Yet we don't know what to do next. They don't really tell us. Okay, well, you need to go talk to a geneticist,
right,
or a genetics counselor. What's that? So we get this report. It's quite long, and say, shit, what are we supposed to do with that now? Oh, let's call a genetics counselor. I googled it. We found one here in San Antonio. but we don't know if they're any good or not. And so we contacted them. We contacted many of them. They said on average the wait time to meet a genetics counselor was between 9 and 12 months.
Okay, so heart murmur,
seizure, trouble swallowing, eating.
And you kind of figure out at some point, or somebody says it's through a genetics test.
Yes.
You figure out that it is a chromosome.
Yes, a chromosome.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a simple genetics test.
Yes.
Doesn't go deep into it.
It doesn't go deep into it. So you have to figure.
And that was
a set of iterative steps.
Insurance covers that one.
Insurance covers that one.
You want a genetics test? Go to get insurance. No big deal. Okay.
And then the second time we said, okay, well, we consulted actually my wife consulted some friends in China because I spent 11 years over there.
Okay.
And we, along the way of coming back after the time of COVID, she was able to make some friends on a plane, and we started touching base. Hey, what's happening with, kids that were born recently, and some of them have had genetic issues.
Sure.
We don't know if it was related to COVID vaccine or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's sheer
That's
luck,
right. You did say
right?
Yeah.
And so we then joined some groups on an application called WeChat, which is the big super app in China.
Right.
And you have doctors that are sharing insight.
Just and not to your very great story, but the whole WeChat thing, I don't think America could ever understand what WeChat is.
Well, that's what Elon Musk is trying to do with X.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, I know.
Because when you walk by somebody in WeChat that just had their dog groomed, and then you have a dog, WeChat will be like, hey, there's a coupon for dog grooming right around the block.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy the way it culminates all the information to actually figure out what you do, where you're going. A little intrusive in a lot of ways, but of course it's China.
Everything is intrusive compared to, but what is intrusive? What's intrusive? Intrusive, what, the government can tell you. The government is telling you that you shouldn't share information. Why? Because they've already got your information.
They got your information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, do you want to, in China, say, okay, well, we're taking video of you, but they're going to let you know they're going to be taking video of you.
Right.
Here, they just take video of you. They don't tell you.
They don't care. Yeah.
So it's in effect, it's the same thing happening.
Very.
It's just where do you control what information you want to give out?
Right.
There versus here. Right. So
well, it's so funny because I hear people talking about, oh, they got my credit card information. It's like, dude, I remember when my parents, were younger in their, late 20s, early 30s, and checking the mail, and they had all these credit card offers in the mail. Well, how did they get all these credit card offers in the mail if your information is so private compared to them?
Yeah.
And people are still selling the information. It's really no different. It's just done through a different medium.
Yeah.
And it feels a little hyper because we see it and we feel it all the time. So.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So WeChat, joined a couple of groups.
Yeah, so we joined a couple of groups, and they said, well, you should try this test called whole exome sequencing. Okay. So that means they're going to take a sequence of DNA across some part of the genetic code and test it.
Okay.
It's not the whole genomic sequence, but it's just one subset. And so they took this subset, and it's called WES. And in the U.S., it's about $2,500 on average. In Asia, China, India, Philippines, it's more about $250. So it's about a tenth of the cost.
Of course.
I mean, obviously, people's income is going to be lower, but at the same time, you have a larger sheer volume of people in China taking it as prenatal versus here. Wow. Okay. You're not people are not educated here.
Right.
Because they're pushing it's more of an ethical issue. Again, who's pushing it, showing it's a potential ethical issue. Right. Yeah. It's religion, it's government, and it's like a.
But they're not aborting kids in China because you figure out somebody has a chromosome issue.
No, but that's what they will tell you.
In China or here?
Here.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Right.
We don't want it because people are going to start aborting their children.
It's not about, okay, well, if it's not a boy, okay, get rid of it. No.
Right.
But that's the narrative that was shared here that, hey, if they don't want to have girls, they'll just abort them. Right. So there's always narratives. So we took the WES test, and actually after we got it rejected first, because insurance said, no, you don't need it, it's not necessary. And so, it's not necessary. So you have a diagnostic, but you don't know if it's real or not. And how do you know? What's the remedy? Oh, there's no remedy. Okay. So finally we got it approved. It took a while to get the results back, 8 weeks. But at that time, the report, it was horrible. There's a lot of reporting companies that pull these reports. based off these tests. Some are better than others. But what I've done is built a.
So hold on. So
yeah.
you get the you
Yes,
get the test back.
You get a test back, and no, the only thing we see is they, instead of 120 genes, now they've shortened it to 65 genes are missing. So some number of these 65 genes, some are probably bad, or some are but they don't know what those 65 genes are.
Now, are you able? So you don't know 65 genes,
right?
But are you even to read and decipher the reports?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We are, but from a layman, no, you can't.
Right, exactly. So
it's cryptic.
You started putting your heart and soul into this.
Yeah. So I wanted to learn as much as possible what genetics is, what's her condition. I mean, it's my daughter, man. So it's it's my heart, blood, and soul, and so we want to find out what we can do, because in these days, especially being in AI machine learning for 10 plus years in this space, the technology is changing so fast.
Right.
That we have the opportunity to be at the forefront of this change.
Yeah, especially with AI, right?
With AI.
And so you were introduced to me through a company that we both contract with.
Yes.
And the person who introduced you was like, this guy's brilliant. He's a genius. He's taught himself all this stuff. In actuality, I think that's kind of close to the truth, but you've taught yourself a lot of stuff, right? But more than anything else, you're using the technology that's currently there to get to where you need to go,
right?
And help other people get to where they need to go.
As an entrepreneur, if you want to build a business, if you want to, you just no longer can survive on just one income. At least in these days, especially where you want at least one parent to be home with the kids, at least have the ability to have the chance to.
Right.
Whether they want to be or not is different, but having the option is a very big important thing. And I feel sometimes it's important that the kids can see one of their parents a good part of the time versus not.
Well, yeah, I think seeing one of the parents, I see seeing both parents, I think it all works. I always say that I think that women in general, but men and women, I think you need to date. I think kids need to see that.
Yeah.
I think they need to see mom date. I think they need to see dad date. I think they need to see mom and dad go out if they're still together.
Yeah.
Right? Those are very healthy things.
Yeah.
Right? Being wrapped up in the kids and staying home all the time, that stuff. Now, also, there's a cultural thing, too. So there is the mom and dad and staying at home more. So that is something that upbringing is a little bit different than here in America. We're like work. We need two incomes. But you kind of do in this damn country.
You need to. I mean, so I think it's kind of challenging sometimes if you're working for one company and you're stuck in that mindset, you reach a certain level of comfort. Mm-hmm. And to break away from that, it's a good discipline to have a breakaway and see how resilient one person is to restart themselves after being in a comfort zone for so long.
Yeah, which I'm in right now. If anybody's watching this, I'm extremely fucking comfortable. Like, I am extremely comfortable. I come in, I do what I do. I feel that I rock. I think I have a lot of great ideas, but I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And getting uncomfortable is kind of like where I have to go there.
Yeah. Well, if you look at where AI can displace anybody these days. Nobody's short of displacement. I mean, I've got James, a data scientist in North Carolina. He says my code's, I'm creating more efficiency with my code. I said, but at the same time, AI is helping you do that, right? So,
exactly.
So everybody's job is being more efficient, efficiently generated using AI, using generative AI.
Yeah.
It's the case for anybody.
And it's there's like some web stuff that they can do faster, but I think efficiency is the best term when we're talking about AI, ChatGPT, Bard, what's the other ones?
Hugging Face.
Yeah, all those different ones, right? I think it's more efficient. We tried to do that polar bear thing. It was more efficient. We got the polar bear, but then if somebody didn't know Photoshop, then they couldn't remove the logo from the inside the pool. So there's all these little things. And then it's the people that just get on there and like, well, give me 5 ways to do this. And it spits it out. And you're like, well, no. Yeah. You can tell that's not good.
Yeah.
You can tell it's choppy. So you have to spend the time. And you have to know what you're doing. You still got to know what you're doing.
So I use LinkedIn as a way to learn about the prompting, that's called prompting.
Yeah,
so
prompting,
We use prompting as a way to tell the search or the ChatGPT
what you're looking
what
for.
to do,
right?
What you're looking for, what to do, what are the instruction sets, and so over time it might get a little bit dumb,
right?
But that's because it's oversaturated or the system itself has been overloaded. And so now you have to reset it. And there's simple things like, hey, please be patient, or please take a break.
Right.
Or, or hang out at the beach. And it's like, that's the way to tell the AI,
so,
take a break.
So somebody laughed at me because I said thank you to AI. I said, hey, thanks for the response. And they're like, you thank AI?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I thank AI.
Yeah.
I thank people. Like, why would I not thank AI?
Yeah.
I get good and I talk to AI like I would talk to somebody else.
Sure.
Hey, we're doing this, this, and this. This is the deadline. This is what we wanted to do. I need 5 of these, 6 of this. And it spits it out. And sometimes it's right. I'm like, okay, write this on a 9th grade level. Spits it out again. Okay, take this off. We know who the people are. Spits it out again. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're at ChatGPT 4.
Yeah, so I'm on Turbo right now.
So if you go ChatGPT 4, 5, or 6 Turbo,
right,
where it will have some communication capabilities.
Exactly.
It'll be the next version of Her. If you ever seen the movie Her.
Yeah.
So you got an operating system, which is a woman that's in your ear all the time. So.
Yeah, and it's now they're getting to the point where it can generate just basically talking to it, and gives you the transcript and everything else. So using AI it's still a tool, and it's going to make things efficient. Yeah. So how is it helping you? So not really how is it helping you? So you get these reports back, you've been studying and everything else, you've been learning. Now what? So
one of the things I want to say is I'm part of a group called Kauai.
Okay.
And Kauai is an initiative focusing on like the Linux of AI. And we don't think that a Microsoft or Oracle or a Google or Amazon, of course, of all places, should be the end-all, be-all of AI.
Gotcha.
We want to create an open community where we can openly contribute to this environment, so we call it Kauai. And that was started by the CTO of Real Networks.
Okay.
And I participate in a group. I haven't been as active as I would want to be. I've been just so busy of trying to create this platform. Which we started off by translating, you can say, these medical notes, medical journals, doctor's notes, test reports from genetics, and we've been basically spitting out these very easy to understand reports that parents can understand.
So when you get the report back for your daughter, the 35, it's 65.
65.
Okay, so it squishes it down to 65. Yeah. So within one of those 65 chromosomes is where the challenge is.
Yeah.
But you had already been spending years reading about this, so you were able to understand it.
So it seems like years, but actually it's months.
Wow.
And
so you found,
but it's been around. This just rare disease, according to that, the basis of what it's telling me is it's a rare disease that's been found to have certain symptoms.
Okay.
And we're approaching it from a symptom standpoint because we don't exactly know what it is, though. Yet it only affects girls.
Gotcha.
Like Rett syndrome, but it's not Rett syndrome.
Okay.
It's not Glass syndrome. We don't know what it is right now. We're trying to find it out.
Okay.
And so what we need to do is go from this current test and take it into what we call a whole genomic sequencing. So basically take the whole gene sequence that a person has, what defines you as a person, and take those strands and detach them and kind of extend it. And then you can potentially see those genes that are missing.
Okay.
Or what genes may be missing.
Gotcha.
And I'm not a geneticist yet, though I'm pursuing that. But that's that's the basis of my understanding is we can build a virtual gene sequence that says this is me, this is the bad sequence of me. I possibly can fix it with potential drugs on the market. So we built a digital twin. Okay. And a digital twin is essentially a virtual you. Right. And what your bad gene sequences are. Okay. And we can test drugs that are on the market today, or even therapies that may exist today, without testing on a real live sample.
Gotcha.
So once you build simulations, and when you take the 3D models, build simulations, and then test them against these simulations, the whole idea is you can get to a point where you can say to a pharma company, "Hey, we have gotten this far. We're now ready to test it in a physical sample, maybe a mouse or a rat." Right. And so the objective is to get to a point where it cuts down the time for clinical trials. Gotcha. Reduces the overall cost. Okay. And creates efficiency between a pharma and new technology companies like ourselves.
And you're doing this primarily because of your daughter.
Yes.
And you want to see how she can be healed.
Yeah. So primary is my daughter, but I cannot selfishly say that it's just for my daughter. We want to democratize the cost of drug discovery and gene therapy, and the only way to take these thousands of dollars of tests, $20,000 or $30,000 of tests, which most parents can't afford,
right?
Which most doctors are going to tell you, no, we can't do anything else because they're no longer wanting to make the effort to try to convince insurance to pay for these tests. Now it's up to us to cross the chasm and say, hey, damn it, we're going to make a difference using AI.
Right. Which is interesting because one thing we're not talking, not we, but people don't talk about during the pandemic is the reason why we were able to get from A to Z a little bit quicker than normal, even though there's some hiccups along the way, right? Because you said this part of your daughter's challenges could be because of a vaccine.
Possibly.
Right. And they take hundreds of vaccines, right? That's not a good or a bad. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But we can better understand it because we have better sequencing, we have better time frames. But people don't realize like AI was used to help this out, to get to the place where we were for the vaccine. And that's why it happened so fast. It's not like somebody just said, hey, we're going to inject the jab. No, this is a process that has been going on.
The difference between 2019 and where we are today are hundreds of years potentially of technology transformation. So like what was announced this morning is the UK government just formalized and approved sickle cell gene therapy.
Wow.
And
my cousin died from sickle cell.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing the breakthrough.
Yeah.
And how many lives it's going to save.
Black lives.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, but when I was at the American Society of Human Genetics conference in D.C. 2 weeks ago, there was a session sponsored by Merck and Roche, specifically on what's happening on the continent of Africa and how they are bringing technology, AI, genetics to the continent and allowing local talent to make use of technology versus colonial type of technology, colonialism that misused the continent of Africa for what it is today.
Right.
And so there's amazing efforts, amazing universities that are locally, organically transforming people's lives using genetics now coming out of Africa. Yeah. And this is one of the areas of origin of sickle cell anemia.
Right.
And it came through the ship. You can see the traces on the ships for the slavery.
So tell me your why, your passion is this, and your why is.
So my why is I want to change obviously help children, adults find not only their talents around helping people but also helping themselves. Like I feel that AI is helping people upskill themselves to learn new jobs, new traits, but also AI is being used in our genetics tools to help the underserved. These people who are, whether it's the Hispanics or the blacks or the Asians or the Chinese or the Filipinos, very, very collective in families. And they believe more in the family structure. And so in the family structure, often genetics cases are in learning disabilities, autism, ADHD, whatever the case may be, it's never really discussed outside the family structure.
Right.
And so what our goal is to work with the local communities, local networks, local clinics, and bring this message of genetic testing in a positive message, and one that's not obstructed by politics, by religion, and by the whole idea of you can't pay for it, because anybody should be able to afford it.
Yeah, and so I have a really good friend of mine, Amzai, very progressive in life and everything else, and we talk about universal basic incomes, clean water, housing, the things that don't have to be, they can be, but they don't have to be so expensive, so hard. There's no clean water is a right in my book. End of story. And I think medical care should be a right, not just because you can afford the most expensive treatment.
Yeah.
I get profit margins, but damn, like we can make enough money on other things, let alone because somebody broke their arm and you figure out they broke a growth plate and it's $10,000, $20,000 more. I'm pulling numbers out my ass, of course.
Yeah.
Or a $2,500, $3,000, $4,000 genetics test.
Or you go to the ER for one day and for a couple hours, you get a $900 or $2,000 bill coming out of it.
Or you ride an ambulance and
yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So it depends on how we want to live, and I think that's where I talk about love so much, because it boils down to love.
So why I do want to disrupt the insurance business. Absolutely.
Nice.
I either see it changing, transforming, or really going away.
Yeah.
In its current form, and I believe in the. I can't say I'm a Amazon. Disciple. I won't say that. I used Amazon a lot for certain things, but on many things it's quite complex. But what they've done is they've brought this medical service that they've acquired through a couple acquisitions, and they're bringing pharma in a new shape that is more consumable by people, regular you and me.
Yeah.
And it's becoming confrontational against the CVS's and the Walgreens and those folks. So, and the shakeup is around insurance. Is around who's going to pay for it.
Right.
And now when you think about disrupting the cost, making it more affordable, making cost no longer a factor in this. It's more about who's getting access to the information.
Right.
Who's getting access to education.
But if people are getting access to, you can't create separate classes when everybody's getting access to the information.
Exactly.
So getting access to the.
So the universal tone is everybody's got either a mobile phone, even a homeless person.
Oh, of course.
They all have mobile phones,
right?
And they're going to have some level of internet.
Well, what was very interesting is years ago, I didn't know that there were like gangster librarians. Like I didn't realize, I call them gangsters, right? But activist librarians.
Yeah.
Like librarians that were, and I hope I don't die, but librarians that were like literally hijacking books into places like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, and they were putting books on tablets and sending them in there so women could start reading.
Yeah.
And literacy.
Here it's the opposite, dude. It's like if you're talking about LGBT.
Like in Florida, dude.
If you're talking about LGBT in some of these central Texas towns.
I know.
And they're going to take me out. But, it's
as
like,
if these people haven't existed.
People are going to City Hall and complaining, hey, why do you have these kind of books in the library?
As if,
if
gay people have not existed forever.
Yes, exactly.
And just because you're not going to listen, the best statement I've ever heard, if straight people are tired of gay people, stop having gay babies. It's not the person's fault. You're the one having, what's wrong with your sequence of DNA? Let's study that. Let's study that. Maybe you slept with too many of your cousins coming up, and this is what's happening. And that's horrible. That's not how gay people were produced by any stretch of imagination. But if you think there's something wrong with it, it's because it was something wrong with you. But there's nothing wrong with gay people. There's nothing wrong with people missing chromosomes. There's nothing wrong with somebody born without an arm. That's what they, and we don't have to treat them any different.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. So listen, we know we can talk, right? That's the easy part.
Yeah.
But if we decide to do the podcast, what does that look like to you? Listen, you mentioned curry and fried chicken. Like, I thought that could be a funny name for us, right? But fried chicken has a very interesting piece in Noma culture.
The reason why I said that, is because it resonates with culture. And culture is a big part of this. And if you sometimes being on the edge, being edgy a little bit, but respecting culture. And trust me, I have nothing but want to show respect.
No, of course. Here. It's a great name. It's hilarious.
This is a way for us to blend.
Right.
This is a way for us to get people listening. This is a way for people to ask questions that they may not normally ask.
So what would be our goal? So if we decided, what's our goal on the podcast?
Education. And it's not traditional education. It's more about, taking questions, creating, opening people's eyes to possible.
I was part of what was called Universidad Sin Fronteras, University Without Borders. And we would meet once a month. And we would create what was called new knowledge. So we would take everything that we had learned from the streets, from the hood, from each other, from books, and we would then sit around and we would discuss the challenges and the problems in the area, and then we would write down what we thought by the end, and then that would become new knowledge.
Yeah.
And so what if we do something, and I'm leaning towards it, I like it, but it's democratizing information.
Yeah, I'll give you a concrete example. So I'm a faculty member in Austin.
Okay.
I teach at Austin Community College. I teach also, I teach new grads that are working for Tesla and other corporations. And what I learned is that some of these kids, let's just take a look at the high school students, sophomores. These guys are learning advanced manufacturing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, first of all, I'm not a traditional educator. I'm a person that's been in the field for 30 years that has cut his teeth on industry. So I'm an industry person. My approach is different.
Right.
I say, here's a book.
You've been in it.
Been in it, right.
Right.
And what's necessary now is kind of a hybrid. Yes, this is a book, we should respect it, but at the same time, this is how transformation is happening in these industries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I see these young people, their eyes are glowing, but I've been in a situation where some of these young people, half their parents are incarcerated or part of gangs.
Mm-hmm.
And or they
so
try
they're
to
the
be
first ones out.
Yeah, and I look at that. I say, okay, well, I can treat you the same way. I can treat you like a gangbanger. I've been around that. I can also, show you the respect of, hey, you may not get this respect at home or someplace else, but you'll get it here.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me, an hour of your time to learn something. And so what I did was, instead of every week teaching them a new syllabus, new curriculum, I'm giving them a project. And the project is something around what they enjoy to do.
Okay.
So first I asked them, do you know about sustainability? Oh, I never heard of the word. Do you know what climate change? Do you know what's happening with the climate? Do you know why it's like a desert here in Texas now?
Right, yeah.
So I put this real life scenario. They ask these questions to themselves. And all of a sudden, now they know sustainability. And now they got 4 teams of 4 kids working on each team to deliver something around sustainability.
Right.
And so one guy is, gathering, moisture from the air and putting it through a vessel to collect water, because he lives off the grid. And so he said, I have to live off the grid. That's my real life. I said, well, let's demonstrate what you do in real life and show other people, because that's something they can learn.
Right.
And it's completely sustainable. Another one is for using solar on lawnmowers. So you no longer have electricity or gas.
Yeah.
So it's sustainable. Another one is, this is not really sustainable, but he's actually an entrepreneur. He builds these really cool pens.
Okay.
And he has his etching device, and he brought it into the class this past week, Tuesday, and he's demonstrating with the complete PPE. He's got the goggles, the mask.
Okay.
He's got the full wear and gloves, and he's got.
Is it a laser?
No, it's this rotating device.
Oh, and he's. Yeah. I've seen that.
He's stripping the wood. He's polishing it.
And so he takes a bigger piece of wood and he knocks it down.
And he creates different effects on his.
Wow.
On his pen.
Is it a side hustle for him?
I'm sorry?
Is that a side hustle for him?
It's a side hustle.
So he's like on Etsy or whatever else?
You are such a...
Yeah, he should be making bank on it. Yeah.
You should make bank on this, dude.
Right.
I mean, if you're selling these pens for $60 to $90 each... So
is he?
No, not yet. He doesn't understand the economics behind it.
Really?
He's pure passion.
Jeez, amazing.
He's doing it in his garage.
Amazing.
So he brought these tools to the classroom.
And I bet they're beautiful pens.
Oh my God, they're amazing.
Wow.
They are unbelievable. Maybe I'll bring some samples next time. And this guy, I'm trying to show them they can be entrepreneurs. Sure. They are entrepreneurs.
Right.
They can do something that's good for the environment.
Right.
They can do something that is they can present in front of a class like TEDx at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So it's really a life learning experience.
Okay. Cool. So back to the name, and so we want to do something where we're teaching, where we're helping people learn, where we're informing, right? And I like it. I think we can come up with a name and knock it out, because I think with the gene therapy piece, I think with AI, I think with just regular everyday Puffy and Biggie, like what's going on there, I think we can bring in all these different aspects and create something that's pretty special. And
there's
not a lot of people that look like us that are doing talks, period. Yeah. Like, it's not. And so that could be something that's also very interesting.
And there's people who are, whether it's in the MMA or other places that, want to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. So we can always have, very interesting people join us as well.
Yeah. More interesting than us.
We can get some, the whole idea is, we want to reach out to people who want to listen to the message, want to contribute.
I want to get a shirt like that, but I want to wear your face on the shirt.
So one of those.
Well, that's been good, man.
Thanks for the opportunity.
No worries, dude. All right. So I'm Guylan. This is Raj. Gavin Raj.
Yes.
And I'm Guylan Jackson. Last name is Sodi. Gavin Raj Sodi. Goes by Raj. Guylan Jackson. Google me. I'm all over the place. Actually debating people on taking down statues. Believe it or not. Yeah, you dig deep enough, you can find some stuff on me. So
wow,
it's very interesting. All right, well, this is podcast number 0, and we're going to talk and see when podcast number 1 is going to kick off. So
sounds good.
All right, man.
See you soon.
Bet.